I'm Vanessa Keir. Welcome to my video installing plugins for YOURLS. Why plugins? Well, YOURLS is a great URL shortener. It's the one I use, but it only offers basic functions. For more advanced functions such as bulk upload and export, you need a plugin. And what do I mean by bulk upload and export? Well, let's say you have a number of long URLs that you want to direct to very specific short URLs. Maybe you have 50 or more. There is a plugin you can install that allows you to upload those instead of having to create them individually within the YOURLS dashboard. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install plugins for YOURLS. Before you install, you need to know how to create folders and upload files via cPanel's file manager on your web host, or you need an FTP client such as FileZilla. Which plugins should you use? The YOURLS website has a link to the plugins repository, and I suggest that you take a look at everything that is there, and it happens to be in an alphabetical list. I'll show you that in a moment. But off the bat, I have two that I recommend. I recommend import-export, which I primarily use for the export function. That way I can get all of my URLs out of the dashboard and into a CSV file if I need to make some major changes. And then if I'm going to do a bulk import, maybe 50 or more, then I use bulk import and shorten, which allows me to map a long URL to my specific naming convention for a short URL. Okay. Here is the yourls.org homepage. It is the About tab here. So to find out what plugins are available, we're going to go over to the YOURLS plugins tab. We're going to click on Plugin List. Then we're going to scroll down to where it gives us the repository link, which is this GitHub link. And now if we scroll down, we can click on the letter of the alphabet if we know the name of the plugin, or we can just start scrolling down. Now, since I've already installed the plugins I recommended to you, let me pick something I haven't installed. I'll just try this check URL that will check if a long URL is reachable before creating a short URL. So I click on the link, and then it takes me to the page, and sometimes they have extensive, or not so extensive, but a little explanation on how to install, but in this case it doesn't. So what I'm just going to do is go to this green button, click the down arrow, and then click download zip, and I will save it to my computer. Okay, so here I am in my Finder window on my Mac, and you can see that I downloaded the zip file into this plugins for YOURLS folder. And to unpack it, I'll simply double click it. Then it gives me this YOURLS check URL master. And if I do the drop down arrow, you can see that there's three segments here. There's a check URL folder. There's a couple of text files. What we care about is this check URL folder. If I use that drop down arrow, it's this plugin PHP that's the key file for running the plugin. So bear this in mind, that it's this folder, the check URL without the master, and then the plugin PHP that are the key files that we're interested in. The first way I'm going to show you how to install this is to have you log into your web host's cPanel and then go to File Manager. So here I am at my cPanel, and I'm just going to go right here to File Manager. All right, so in this situation, I am at a location where I installed YOURLS directly into the main root folder without creating a directory for it. So in order to find the plugins folder for YOURLS, I look for the public HTML, and then I look for user, and then there should already be a plugins folder created for you because, and when I click this, you're going to see all the ones I've installed already, but these ones at the bottom, the sample page, the sample plugin, and the sample toolbar, those all come when you install YOURLS. So you can see here that I have all of my folders for plugins I've already installed, such as that import-export I mentioned before, are already here. So if I click on this to make sure that it loads into this main window, in order to upload the files via this method, we first have to create the folder that we're going to upload the files into. So I'm going to go up here and do add a new folder. And then if you notice the naming convention of all the plugins, they have hyphens, not spaces between them, and they're not capitalized except for the import-export. So I'm just going to call this check URLs. And then I'm going to do create new folder. And you can see here is my folder, check URLs, and now it says this directory is empty, and I'm going to go ahead and click upload. And then I'm going to select my files so that they can start uploading. And you can see the plugin PHP file is loading over here. And now it's saying that it is 100% complete. So I'm going to close out of this and then refresh. And now that I've refreshed, you can see that under the folder check URLs, we now have this plugin.php. And now I can go into my YOURLS admin dashboard to activate the plugin. Okay, here we are at the admin interface for YOURLS. Click Manage Plugins to go to this page. And then what happens is if you go over to this action column, as you scroll down, it gives you an option to activate or deactivate depending on the status. And here is the check URL plugin that I've installed, and all I have to do is go ahead and click activate. And now it's live. So the plugins that are listed under Manage Plugins here are the ones where you can click on them and then there's an action you can take. So with the check URL, it's working in the background, so you don't need to click on anything to work with it. But for example, this bulk import and shorten, if I click on that, it gives me the instructions on how to set up my CSV file, and then it tells me that I can upload it after I've chosen my file. So that's why there's only certain plugins listed under the Manage Plugins option. And I will quickly go over now how to do this via FileZilla and FTP Manager. Okay, so here I am inside FileZilla. If you're not familiar with FileZilla, I'm not going to explain how to use it here. I'm just going to show people who are familiar with it or are familiar with other FTP managers how to use this method to install your plugins. So as you can see here on the left, these are my local files here, and what's showing in the window down here is the contents of the folder I have highlighted, and then over on the right are the files on my web host server. So again, I'm going to go down to public HTML, and then I'm going to go down to user, and then I'm going to go into plugins. And you can see I deleted the folder from the last install. And then I want to go back over to the left where my local files are. And remember I said we don't want to upload this master folder. We want to double click this. And then it's this check URL folder that we want to install from. So I'm just going to drag this over to the right. And then down here it tells me the status, and it went from being queued to successful transfer, and now I'm done. and I can go back into my URLs dashboard and activate it. So here I am in the Manage Plugins section of my URLs interface, and you can see here that check URL is here and it is not bold because it's not activated because this is the new version. And then I would just go ahead again and activate it, and now it turns bold and it's activated. So that is it on how to install plugins on URLs. In summary, to install the plugin, find the plugin you're interested in from the list of plugins in the repository, download the files, then unpack the zip. To install with cPanel, go to cPanel's File Manager, create a new folder for the plugin in the User Plugin directory, upload the files from inside the unzipped plugin folder on your computer. Just the files, not the folder. To install with FileZilla, under the directory of your web host's files, locate the User Plugin directory, upload the unzipped plugin folder from your computer. So here you're uploading the entire folder. But it may not be the top level folder, it might be inside a folder labeled master. So just make sure that you're uploading just the plugin folder. To activate the plugin, log in to your URLs admin panel. And just as an aside, try saying your URLs 5 times fast. Go to Manage Plugins and activate the plugin. Final thoughts. Plugins extend the functionality of URLs. So at the very least, I would recommend that bulk import and shorten plugin because it's a lot faster to create everything in a CSV file and upload it. For information on how to use URLs, look for part 4 of my Evergreen Links for Authors series. That's it for this video. Until next time, happy writing. Bye.